There were so many opportunities to see the Rebbe, to interface with the Rebbe. The Rebbe was there to lift us up, to give us perspective, solace when necessary, encouragement, to share the joys. A world with the Rebbe in it was a world that had an anchor.
I was a reporter at the New York Times from 1975 to 1993. And in those years, I had many opportunities to write about the growth of the Lubavitch movement and to write about Rabbi Schneerson in particular. I think most celebrities are people that you may admire, but you don't get a sense that they care that much about you. The Rebbe was different. He really cared about every person.
האהבה שלו, בפעם הראשונה, והצלחה רבה, בשביל הסיור שלו בציורים שלו, הצלחה רבה. יש לו חרב בכל הציורים החדשים. I have not seen you in a long time. All things are right.
Could be a little bit better.
Then it will be a lot better.
Amen.
בנצר כל האפשריות, להפיץ היהדות האמיתית, ומתשמחה וטוב לבו.
כן, אני יודעת.
ירכב אותם כן בשורות טובות בענייניך הפרטיים.
אוי, תודה. תודה.
והעבודה שלי היא גם כן הסתרבות בעניינים הפרטיים של כל הפנים אליי.
זה יותר חשוב לי ממה שאמרת עד עכשיו.
He wanted you to be a better person. He wanted you to be a better Jew. He wanted you to practice the rituals and the commandments of Judaism. Those things would make you a better person and make the world better.
I am a writer, primarily on Jewish themes, and I've recently completed a 5-year project on the Rebbe. The Rebbe had a greater capacity than anyone I've ever come across to appreciate that a human being is created in the divine image. He saw that spark of divinity in every Jew, that every Jew therefore was connected, even if that person felt distant now.
You're not changing anything, you're only returning to your real essence and doing so on your own volition, and then it will come to you automatically to progress in all things of Yiddishkeit.
The Rebbe was still seeing that divine spark within them. He saw not only who they were now, he saw also what they could become and how precious they were.
Ik heb gekomen te vinden een beetje Jiddischkeit, een beetje mijn Jiddischkeit.
Ik had
En wil helpen.
Je zou zoeken bij zich in harten te vinden, maar zag meer dan ze vindt nog daar. Dat verlissen en in de hart. We werden actief en dan veel met eigen ganzen. Een Jiddische hart.
When one walked into the Rebbe's study, you saw nothing but the Rebbe. It was not an ostentatious office. It's not like going into the president or governor's offices or even deans of law schools. The Rebbe's office was not that at all. It was him. He can't enforce anything he wants. All he can do is advise and suggest. And that distinguishes him from every other leader I've met. They have the power of the purse, they have the power of the sword, they have the power of the media, they have the power of law. Rebbe has no power, only the authority that he himself brings through his personality and his leadership.
What happened to the book?
Well, I'm doing some things in that direction, which I'll inform you as it goes along.
It takes you too long.
You're right.
You have much more things to do after you finish that.
Okay.
This was a wonderful year, Baruch Hashem, but this was our greatest accomplishment of 1988. To be elected a senator was nice, but this was the best.
But don't be satisfied. It's only with you.
Okay, we both heard.
That depends more on you, probably. Man hebt sich auch nach rumgucken, wird man erschrocken, was tut sich das in der Welt. Und was mit der und mit Schone, ist Achscher Dore bit mir. Am geht sich a gucken, nieder Chelik Atevis Geber und nieder Seder wird als starker und nicht gedusche Beruchni ist. Is Meschel beschälet nor Lechiere Leheper. A das ist a Linie von a Jahr, was dort gewaltigen Chayis reut.
The Rebbe's mission was to call the world's bluff and reach right in and invert its reality and expose the core, expose the goodness. And he did that on every level, to the world entire, to each person he touched.
Man soll wissen sein, dass man gefühlt sich in einer teure Welt. Das ist eine Welt, wo sie ist ein Gang. Und nicht stamm a Sode, eise Tvur, nur das ist ein Gang von eise Peres. Das ist eine Samen-Welt, wo der Eberster sagt, dass das ein Paradies, wo das ein Paradische Leben.
Just imagine that you are an eagle and you were raised as a duck. So you think that you are a duck and you live like a duck, and sometimes raises you and you find out that's an eagle. Then you spread your wings and go. You soar up to heaven. You are now above all these things. So that is what's called the touch the Rebbe had, and it was a spark. Went there and ignited them. And the person is not only didn't return to what he was, it changed completely from one place to another.
Die Chance mit verbindet sich mit der Sache, wo sie gefühlt sich eben, mit der Sache, wo sie le Meile min Azman und min Amoke, ist Afal Pi, was gefühlt sich in Zman und in Moke, gibt ihm der Eberste die Möglichkeit, als ich in See, wird durchführen den Ebersten Schlichus. Die Chance mit verbunden eben, oder demult fällt mir nicht unten.
To influence all the Jewish people to do a big task. But nevertheless, every Jew has the power to do so because he is going with the help and the blessing of God Almighty himself.
Well, I promise I'll do my best.
Yeah, God Almighty will help you.
How crowded was it?
Lubavitcher Jews around the world today began 7 days of mourning for their beloved leader, Rabbi Schneerson.
Rabbi Schneerson was a great leader of the Lubavitcher people. He was a great religious leader of the Jewish people. He was also a great religious leader of all people all throughout the world.
I was aware that he was not well, but his death, of course, was devastating to everybody in the world. Who could ever succeed this Rebbe? I mean, he was such a giant.
The Rebbe rewrote the book on what it meant to be a Hasidic leader. The Rebbe sort of broke down that wall and said, I have something to give and to contribute and to teach to all Jews. He was one of a kind. So with him gone, how could the movement survive?
The Rebbe's passing was a loss on a personal level, but beyond that, it seemed to be the eclipse of a light the world needed so badly. That was the true loss. But as it turned out, that was never lost. It lives on in the Rebbe's teaching, in the Rebbe's direction, that fuel our work today.
When you are stranded in the wilderness, you really don't know anything. So you have a light, and the light guides you, and then somehow the light is extinguished in the middle of the night in some moment. How do you feel that? And you have, on the other hand, you don't have any permission to stop. See, and the Rebbe gave an order, marching orders, and so you have to go on marching.
For the Rebbe, there was nothing more precious than every single human being, and there was nothing more precious than every single mitzvah. The marching orders were, bring these two preciousnesses together.
Shasayit tut a mitzvah in der Welt, tut a schliches Atei de Nebischen Kwajoch. Wir darf manchmal sagen, die Potter als a Prumerit, ist jede Mitzvah, was tut, ist auf seiner Matone, was gibt den Nebischen.
One of the ways in which this book itself profoundly influenced me was the Rebbe's insistence on the importance of every mitzvah, which brings me now, when I do a mitzvah, to have a much greater increased sense of its power to affect me.
את מדליקה בשבת. אז אל תראה שכל החברות שלו יעשו גם כן כך. Everywhere was is putting tefillin, you eat and you are true to you. Someone else, he must begin putting tefillin. That alone is a very worthwhile endeavor. For adding a Jew to put tefillin. You're welcome.
You know, the greatest immortality somebody can ever have is to leave a legacy and to see one's work continue after one sheds the mortal coil. And the Rebbe did a phenomenal job in preparing his movement, the Jewish world, and the entire world.
To think that he had built this movement from the time he became Rebbe in the 1950 or 1951, and it had this phenomenal growth, that growth would have continued sort of exponentially after his passing is kind of hard to imagine, hard to believe. It just shows that, you know, the power of the message that he had, and that he has been able to, in some ways, transcend life.
The Rebbe saw each person as a stakeholder in this awesome project. We have the responsibility and the privilege of moving it forward. By adding one new mitzvah, everyone can become a stakeholder in the Rebbe's project as it continues to move forward and to grow.
Und als Meisef, ein Meisef, ein Dibur, ein Achlot, lezad Ateiv, ist Neisef, was peilt auf sich, peilt rechet al Bnei Beisef, und peilt, wie der Rambam schreibt, als Psag Din, al kol ha'elam kuli umachriye lekar schus. Bringt uns die Gejule bepeil mamash mitech simcha vetuv levo.
So good to see everybody coming in for our very, very special event here this evening. It's a very, very special evening. And it has a special significance for Basi and I. Basi will be here any moment. We are about to be celebrating 25 years of coming to California to open the Chabad here in Mission Viejo. It was exactly 10 days from today. And it was in 1995, summer of 95, exactly 1 year after the Rebbe's passing, that Basi and I boarded that plane, packed up our stuff, and moved into my parents first, and then eventually moved here to Mission Viejo. So this is a very special milestone for us. So this is the 26th anniversary of the Rebbe's passing, and 25 years of us moving here to do the Rebbe's work here in Mission Viejo. It's also 2 days before our wedding anniversary. So our wedding anniversary is 2 days after the Rebbe's passing. We got married 1 year before, in 1993, and exactly 1 year minus 2 days, just before our first wedding anniversary, is when the Rebbe passed. And obviously it was we didn't really get to celebrate that first anniversary. It was not a very easy time. And that was that summer that we decided, Basi and I, to drive cross country and come out here to California, and spent 10 days on the road. Actually, we took a drive away from a Jewish car owner who had wanted to move his car all the way over here to Phoenix, Arizona. So we drove it across, and we stopped in every Chabad along the way. And so it was really very, very special to see the shluchim, to see the Rebbe's emissaries, and to see them at a time that they were very vulnerable. You know, the Rebbe had just passed away, and how do you relate to that? And so watching them in their environment, and kind of how they're processing it, and it was quite a trip. So first of all, just to see Chabad, what Chabad, literally the physical buildings, and what Chabad had already built up at that time, and that was in 1994. And then the next year we flew out here to California. So tonight, in just a short time, the sun has not set yet, so the Rebbe's day of Yortzeit has not actually begun, and that's why we actually chose to do it at this time, so this way we could prepare and have a full, complete day dedicated to the Rebbe and with an understanding of it. And so I'm going to start off tonight with, we have a packed program tonight, and some really, really special things. I'll do a little prayer that everything should go well. All the technology should work. God should bless our efforts. And I'm going to start off with a little history. The older I get, the more the easier it is for me to get all emotional, as they say in Yiddish, verklempt. And my appreciation and connection to the Rebbe just gets deeper and deeper each year. And so the Rebbe was born in 1902. This is actually a picture of the Rebbe just before his third birthday, before we get our hair cut. So the Rebbe was born at a very, very challenging time in the Jewish world. He was lived under Tsarist Russia, and it was shortly after his birth that 1905, 1906 were the terrible pogroms that struck the Jewish community in Russia. And the Rebbe's family eventually would take up residence in what is now Ukraine, in Dnepropetrovsk. And it was during that time that this is the picture of the pogroms. And then obviously the Great Revolution that happened in this is the revolution in the Bolshevik Revolution that took place in the early 1900s And then, of course, World War I in 1917. And then the Spanish flu during that same time. And the Rebbe was involved in all of these things. And then the Rebbe got married in Warsaw. That is the Rebbitzin, and that's the Rebbe. And then they moved to Berlin. And they were there when World War II broke out. And then from there, after Hitler took over Germany, the Rebbe managed to escape and managed to get away and go to France. And just as the Germans were coming to France, the Rebbe was able to get out and eventually made it all the way to the United States of America in 1941 on the last boat out. And then he became the right-hand man of his father-in-law, who's on the left, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson, and he took over all of the main institutions of Chabad. And then in 1951, a year after his father-in-law passed away, the Rebbe took on the leadership of Chabad. But as you can see, it's a very, very, very small crowd. They fit into a tiny, tiny room with just a few people there. And the Rebbe had a very, very radical and different approach. And many said was risky and was dangerous. And the Rebbe persisted. And as time went on, the Rebbe's vision started to become clear and started to become fulfilled. And there were many, many people who came to the Rebbe, but one of the most significant people who came was the Prime Minister of Israel, who actually came and visited the Rebbe. Here you have Menachem Begin visiting with the Rebbe when he came to America to meet with, I think it was then President Carter. And this is as things grew, more and more people started to come to the Rebbe's Farbrengens, the Rebbe's gatherings. And here are some pictures of, that's Basi actually, getting $1 from the Rebbe. That's another one with her friend there. That's on the left is Rabbi Leibel Groner, the Rebbe's secretary, who stood by his side for all of the Rebbe's years of leadership. And there's Basi again. And this is a picture of, that's actually me on the left there. And that is when I got called to the Torah at my bar mitzvah. And so for my bar mitzvah, I was in New York, and I was able to get called to the Torah before the Rebbe. So I was standing next to the Rebbe when he got called up to the Torah. I don't remember this moment, but someone found the picture and sent it to me, so now I have it. I'm very, very thankful. And that's a picture of me getting $1 from the Rebbe, taken from a video clip, so it's quite grainy. And then, of course, after the Rebbe's passing in 1994, instead of Chabad imploding or collapsing or just becoming stale or stagnating, it actually grew and grew and grew and grew even more exponentially after, and continues growing to this very day. And here we have these are the Rebbitzins. Before that was the rabbis. This is the Rebbitzins.
Who could find me?
She's right. She's the one right over. I have no idea. Yeah. So we'd like to start off this evening. We're going to begin by reading the Rebbe's actual portion of Psalms that is connected to the years of his life. And so the Rebbe would have turned 118, so it's 119 is his actual Psalm 119. So if you have a yarmulke or a cap or a hat, you put it on so you can do a little prayer, a little psalm reading together. To begin our evening, the Rebbe always said that we should connect everything we do with prayer, with charity, and with Torah study. And so we're going to begin. We're going to say it first in the English, and then we'll say it in Hebrew. This is just the first few and last few verses of the psalm. It's one of the longest psalms, so we're just doing the first few and the last few. We'll say it together. Fortunate are those whose way is artless, who walk with the Torah of the Lord. Fortunate are those who keep his testimonies, who seek him with all their hearts. Indeed, they have not done iniquity, they walk in his ways. You have commanded your precepts to be observed diligently. Let your hand be ready to help me, for I have chosen your precepts. I long for your salvation, O Lord, and your Torah is my delight. Let my soul live, and it will praise you, and let your judgment help me. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek out your servant, for I have not forgotten your commandments. Now, we are going to do the Hebrew side. Ashrei Smimei Dorech, Aholcheim B'soiras Adonai. Ashrei Noitzrei Doisav B'chol Yidreshu. Af Loi Palu Avlo B'drach Avalachu. Atotzi Visa Pikudacha Lishman Me'oi. Achalai Koinu Drachoi Lishman Fugacha. Ta'an Lishoinim Rosecha. Ki Chol Mitzvaysecha Tzedek. Ki Hi Yadecha Le'azreini. Ki Fikudecha Vocharti. Ta'afti Lishuascha Adonai V'seiros Choshashu Oi. Techi Nafshi Usalaleka. Umishpotecha Yazruni. Ta'isi Kise Oived Bakesh Adecha. Ki Mitzvaysecha Lo Shachachti. Well, Pasi's here, and Henya's here, and we are honored to be with all of you, wherever you might be, whether you're with us here in the Zoom, or if you're live with us on Facebook, or if you're going to see this at a later time. We're so glad you're here with us.
Hi, Kathy.
Tonight is very special because if not for the Rebbe, we would not be here. We wouldn't have made all of the connections that we made together with all of you. We wouldn't have created all of the opportunities that we have all created together, all the special connections that we have made together. There's countless. And this is all because of the Rebbe, because of the Rebbe's amazing leadership. Just think about all the things the Rebbe lived through. Most people living through that would just crawl up and just, lay in bed all day. And especially what the Rebbe had stacked against him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that inspired us, continues to inspire us. And we are dedicated to fulfilling the Rebbe's, everything the Rebbe wanted, especially the most important thing, which is bringing Mashiach, bringing peace to this world, making the world the way it is supposed to be. But the Rebbe has had a great impact, not only on our lives, but not only on our community through us, but actually people have had their own connection, their own relationship with the Rebbe. And I've asked a few people to share with us their personal connection with the Rebbe. And so we're going to start off with Gail Gittel-Hana.
Thank you, Gail. I asked Gail to share because I remember so clearly our trip. We took a community trip to New York, I think it was about 2 years ago. And I remember standing near Gail when we visited the Rebbe's gravesite for her very first visit, her very first time. And I remember watching Gail that day. That has stayed with me until today. And I think about it often because it was just amazing to see the impact that this visit had on her as I'm like just standing near her. Here's Gail's going to share a little bit, but I thought it was so special. You know, I grew up with the Rebbe. You know, you saw those pictures of me in one of the pictures. I think I was in 7th grade. And, you know, on all my years, I was going to the Rebbe's every Shabbat. I would go to 770 and hear with my friends, and we would hear the Rebbe give a talk and go into the Rebbe's talks and gatherings. I grew up with the Rebbe, so lucky. And Henya was writing me notes last night telling me how sad she is that she didn't see the Rebbe while he was alive. Even though she feels so connected to him, she was writing me little notes last night telling me she wishes she was alive to have pictures with him as well and to have stories with him. But for me to watch Gail have such an impactful experience, her very first visit, it didn't take more than seconds, and I saw the great impact this was having on her. So that's why I asked her to share, because I thought that would be really special for all of us. So thank you so much, Gail.
Thank you, Bossy. I think the memory, the recollection you have, the one that still gives me chills is when we went to the Ohel, and I had never been there before, and I was curious, and we got there, and it was a crowded day, and there was all these holy people crowding in. And for those of you that have never had the opportunity yet to go, the Rebbe's grave is in the middle, and then there's like this platform around his grave where all of us pilgrims come and pray and pay our respects and honor. And when I got there, the place was so crowded, and eventually I worked my way up to the front so that I was standing over the grave and looking in. And when you look in, lots of people are throwing in notes, prayers, wishes, and there was just a lot of people praying. And anyway, so I wanted to pray too, but when I pray, I don't ask for something. I clear my mind and am open for receiving. I wasn't there to ask the Rebbe for anything. I was hoping he would send me the message that he wanted me to have. And as a result of all the meditations I've done over the years, especially with Dr. Michael Grossman and the Kabbalah class on Thursday night, I was able to clear my animal thoughts, my animal soul, quiet that so that my neshama could prevail. And as I stood over the Rebbe's grave and started my clearing my head and entering into a prayer state, I became aware of like a vibration, and it was just like shaking me. It was like sound waves or something, and the floor was moving, and I immediately opened my eyes and looked around like, what the heck's going on? And everything seemed normal. People were praying and milling, but I could still feel this energy, and no one else was feeling it. I was looking around, and everyone was just in their own space and in their own prayer. But there was this energy. It was just like, I don't know what kind of energy it was, something I've never felt before. And of course, I got kind of intimidated and I went over to Basi. I said, Basi, do you feel this? Do you feel it? And I guess she knew what I was talking about because she remembered to mention this tonight. But I went, so then I tried to clear my mind and pray. I don't know what message I received. I'm not sure what message the Rebbe gave me, but I came away from that weekend in Crown Heights, and then I was also had the opportunity to go with Rabbi and Chaim Marcus to Israel. The combination of those two opportunities was an neshama thumping experience, a real awakening to who I am. So that's my experience.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Gail. That was amazing. That was amazing. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Yes, I remember that that visit very, very well. Thank you so much for sharing. Unbelievable.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you. And so we have others that also had experiences and stories with the Rebbe, and we're running a little bit behind here, so we're going to share those a little bit later. But at this time, we actually want to share with you something very, very special and very, very very, very, in a sense, heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. And that is the story that has happened with Basi's first cousin, Rabbi Benny Wolf. And the Wolf family. And sadly, these are the Chabad Shluchim in Hanover, Germany. And this is Basi's first cousin, Rabbi Benny Wolf, from Israel. And he and his family are raising their family for the last 15 years in Hanover and building the Chabad there. As you can see here, doing his work in spreading the beauty and the light of Judaism. This is lighting the menorah in a very, very famous place, which during the World War II was not exactly used for positive things for Jewish people.
That's the place where they rounded up all the Jews to take them away to the camps and stuff.
And here's the lighting of the menorah. And oops, wrong way. Yikes, went too far. And so we are going to, actually, we were going to have Sterni come on live, but the timing just does not work out. So we actually have a video where she is going to be sharing a little bit the story and her message, very, very important message for all of us. And the reason I thought that it was very, very appropriate to share this is because you get a little bit of an insight into the Rebbe by the kind of leaders the Rebbe created, the kind of dedication, devotion that the Rebbe created. And so to see Sterni, it's just...
That's the sign of a real leader, is taking ordinary people and turning them, each one of them, into leaders. Like we were just every shliach and shlucha were just regular kids in a regular class, like there was nothing extraordinary about any of the shluchim. And this is really the greatness of the Rebbe, that he inspired young people to go out and move away, far away from their families, and just hear so much about the Jewish community across the globe, people they've never met, and there's nothing in it for them, just to absolutely love and care about everybody. moving far away and sacrificing so much. And one thing I just want to share before we turn on this video is that Shirley has been so touched by all of the people who have helped her family out so much so that she can stay in Germany to continue the amazing work that Chabad is doing there. And so many people in our very own community here in Mission Viejo have been so generous and sent in really nice donations, and it was extremely touching to us, and Shirley was extremely grateful as well. So she says a big thank you.
Okay, so we're going to play the video now.
בי"א ניסן, השנה, לפני חודש וחצי, בעלי נכנס לבית הרפואה, על הרגליים, בריא, נדבר, אבל משם הוא כבר לא יצא. 3 שבועות של תקווה, אמונה, רצון וביטחון שבני יחזור הביתה לילדים שלו, לקהילה. אבל זה לא קרה. בראש חודש אייר, יום שישי, כמה דקות אחרי שנכנסה שבת, הקדוש ברוך הוא החליט אחרת. המשכתי לשבת שם לידו, והרבה זמן, בגלל שאני ידעתי שברגע שאני קמה ועוזבת את החדר, אני משלימה עם המציאות. ולא רציתי, לא יכולתי, לא הסכמתי להשלים עם מציאות כזו. התחננתי לקדוש ברוך הוא. בבקשה, תעשה תחיית המתים. אני עוד פה, עוד הכל אפשר לשנות. אני לא אבין לעולם למה, אבל אני כן מבינה שזה רצונו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. בדרך מבית הרפואה הביתה, הכל היה מאוד מאוד שחור. היה לילה, אני לא ראיתי נקודת אור, היו הרבה דברים, עברו הרבה דברים בראש, אבל דבר אחד היה ברור לי מהשנייה הראשונה. נעשה ונשמע. אנחנו ממשיכים. רק עכשיו חגגנו את חג השבועות. היה חג מאוד קשה. לנו בתור משפחה, לקהילה בלי הרב. אבל כמו שבני ישראל לפני אלפי שנים אמרו נעשה ונשמע, הם לא התדיינו עם עצמם. הם לא חשבו אם זה משתלם או לא משתלם, ואיך אנחנו באמת נבצע את זה. זה משהו שיצא מהתוכו פנימה. אותו דבר, בדקות האלה שהלכתי מהבית רפואה לבית, לבשר לילדים את הבשורה הכי קשה שיכולים לשמוע, בדרך רק דבר אחד היה לי ברור. אנחנו ממשיכים פה, איך זה נראה אחר כך. בגלל שכשזוג יוצא לשליחות, הוא יוצא עם אידיאולוגיה שאנחנו הולכים לעשות הכל בשביל שמשיח יבוא. ואנחנו נעזוב את עיר שליחותנו, או כשמשיח יבוא, או כשהיהודי האחרון יעזוב את העיר. אנחנו פה בהנובר כבר 15 שנה. לצערי, משיח עוד לא הגיע, וגם היהודי האחרון עוד לא עזב. ולכן, אנחנו ממשיכים, כי המטרה עוד לא הושגה. איך זה יקרה בפועל? אנחנו עכשיו כבר חודש וחצי אחרי, אנחנו גם לומדים להבין איך יהיה ונשמע. כמו שבחג השבועות בני ישראל עמדו כולם כאיש אחד בלב אחד, גם השנה הגיעו הרבה אנשי קהילה בכמה פעמים לשמוע את 10 הדיברות ולהמשיך את הדרך של בני, שהיה איש של שלום, איש של אהבה. בני היה שליח מסור ונתון לפעולות של הרבי בכל רגע נתון, והכל מתוך אהבה, סבלנות, נועם, עם חיוך. היה תמיד חשוב לו אהבת ישראל. ואת הדרך הזאתי, אומנם פה פיזית הוא כבר לא נמצא, אבל הוא השאיר לנו מורשת חזקה מאוד של אהבת ישראל. וזה אנחנו עדים לתופעה מדהימה. במהלך התקופה הזאתי, כל כך הרבה מכתבים מיהודים ולא יהודים בעיר ששולחים, מאנשים שמחליטים להשלים אחד עם השני בתוך המשפחה, בין קבוצות, בין אנשים. זה רק מראה לנו כמה ההשפעה של בני חזקה. אני גם עדה למשהו מפתיע, איך שכל אחד מהקהילה מרגיש שהוא איבד לא רק אבא, לא רק רב, אלא גם חבר וידיד אמת. אבל מה עושים עם הכאב הזה? עם הכאב שכבר לא יעזוב אותנו. כבר מיד אחרי שזה קרה, ואחרי שבישרתי לילדים ולקהילה, מיד אמרתי להם, בואו נמנף את הכאב הזה לעשייה. לשבת ולבכות, זה לא יביא לנו את המשיח ולא יחזיר לנו את בני בחזרה. את הכאב שלנו, אנחנו נעשה איתו משהו. התקשרה אליי אמא, אישה, כבר באמצע השבעה, ובכתה וכאבה, וסיפרה שגם הבן שלה מאוד מאוד בוכה, ולא מסוגל לעשות כלום כבר כמה ימים. אז אמרתי לה, בואי תבקשי מהבן שלך, שיהפוך את הכאב לעשייה, ושיניח תפילין כל יום לעילוי נשמתו. אז היא אמרה לי, אבל הוא לא עשה בר מצווה. ואני יודעת שבעלי ניסה כמה וכמה פעמים לפעול עליו לעשות בר מצווה. אז אמרתי לה, אז בואו נחליט שעכשיו עושים לו בר מצווה. זה היה ב-10 בלילה ביום רביעי באמצע השבעה, ואמרתי לה, מחר ביום חמישי בשעה 3 בצהריים, תבואי עם הבן, ואנחנו נחגוג לו הנחת תפילין ראשונה. ואכן זה מה שהיה. ואחרי הבר מצווה, כשהסתיים הטקס והכל, אז הוא בא, ניגש אליי ואמר לי, ועכשיו אני רוצה לעשות ברית מילה. היום הוא התקשר אליי שוב ושאל, האם כבר השמיים פתוחים? האם כבר אפשר להביא לפה מועל? כי אני רוצה, ואני רוצה לעשות את זה כמה שיותר מהר. גם נשים בקהילה שלא הדליקו עד היום נרות שבת, וביקשתי מהם כל יום שישי אני שולחת הודעה על הדלקת נרות, והוספתי עוד שורה, שגם מי שלא הייתה רגילה לעשות את זה עד היום, אז אני מבקשת ממנה לעילוי נשמת לעשות. כי החלטנו לתרגם את כל הכאב העמוק שלנו לעשייה, בשביל שמשיח יוכל לבוא. זו ההזדמנות גם להודות לכל 12,000 איש שתמכו בהחלטה שלנו להישאר פה, והפכו להיות שותפים להמשך העשייה בהנובר. כמובן, זו ההזדמנות גם להודות לשלוחי חב"ד בגרמניה, שהפכו להיות משפחה מדהימה ותומכת בכל השעות הכי קשות. ולכן אני רוצה לסיים עם מסר. כל אחת, בכל תקופה בחיים שלה, עם כל מה שהיא נתקלת, לא ליפול, להפוך את הכאב לעשייה, למנף את זה למשהו חיובי. ובעזרת השם, בין אם מלמעלה ואנחנו מלמטה, נעשה כל מה שאפשר להמשיך ולזרז את הגאולה ולהביא לנו את בני בחזרה. תודה רבה לכם.
Wow. Unbelievable. There we are. Okay. Oh my goodness. Takes your breath away just experiencing that and seeing that. Just something very, very special. And again, just reinforces for us the strength the Rebbe imparted into each one of us. Unbelievable. Just can't get over it. And so we are thought it would be very appropriate to have a song, to have some music. And so I couldn't think of anyone better than my brother, my extremely multi-talented, super fun, wonderful, incredible, Ben-Zion. How are you, Benzi?
Hello, Zalman. Hello, Rabbi Rebbitzin. Hello, everybody.
I want to take the moment to say hello to Ma is on.
Hi, Ma.
See that Mom is on. It's nice to have her with us. And so I know you're going to have more songs for us later, but I thought that now would be appropriate. We should do something special. What do you got for us, Benzi?
Well, I thought it would be nice to sing a beautiful niggin, a beautiful melody that the Rebbe taught. And it has the words from Tehillim, from Psalms, of Tzama Lecha Nafshi, that the soul thirsts for divinity, and Kama Lecha Besari, till the point that the physical, your body and your physical actions also come to thirst for divinity with mitzvot. And this is something that the Rebbe certainly personified, and something that he really wanted to impart to all of us, was that we should try to turn this physical world to a place that thirsts for divinity. So try that one. Please sing along if you know it. Tzama lecha nafshi, kama lecha besori, b'eretz Zion ve'yoyev limoyim. All together now. Ya 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 ya. Ya 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 ya. Oye kein bakoyedesh chazi yismicho lirai suscho uchevoidecha. Oye kein bakoyedesh chazi yismicho lirai suscho uchevoidecha. Oye kein bakoyedesh chazi yismicho lirai suscho uchevoidecha. Ay 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 ay. Di da 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 da. Di da la da la do da da da. Di ma 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 ma. Di da 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 da. Ya la da 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 da. Uitzama lecho nafshi Koma lecho misori B'eretz Yoveyoye B'limo Goyim. I think you know it by now. Da 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 la la da yo la da la da yamamu da 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 di la da 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 ya la da 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 Oy kein bakoidesh chasi sichal yidai yisoso chivoidesh kein bakoidesh chasi sichal yidai uscho chivoidesh Oye kein vakoidesh Chazisi Chodidois Uzcha Chivoidesh Tiri-da-da-da-da-da-dam Tiri-do-i-la-da-i-la-da-i-la-da-da-dam Ah-hey Ay. Didi-da-da-da-da-da-da-do. Didi-do-i-la-da-i-la-da. Da-da-da-do. Chaim.
Thank
Thank
you. Thank you so
That
much.
was great. Actually, it's a great time to do a l'chaim. Everybody, if you have some
Drink.
water, if you have a drink, make a bracha. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam, shehakol nihiyah bidvaro.
Amen.
L'chaim.
Chaim lebracha.
Thank you, Benzi. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon for more.
Yes, we got a lot more coming up. Okay, Yasher Koach. At this time, we are going to go all the way across the world, 14 hours ahead. It's now 9:45 in the morning, Thursday morning, the moment we've all been waiting for, to go all the way to Phnom Penh, Cambodia. And let me find them here and pull them up so I can unmute them. Here they are.
So
let me find them. This is, Basi, why don't you introduce them?
Okay, so we want to welcome, a very warm welcome to Mashi and Benche Butman and their beautiful family. I just want to share, hi Mashi and Benche, good morning to you.
Good morning, good evening to you.
Thanks, it's great to see you. I just want to share that it's so special to have Mashi and Benche and their family on tonight. We take so much pride in the beautiful, incredible, outstanding, I have no words for the work that they do with the Jewish community in Cambodia. I remember that I was in 7th grade, the summer of 7th grade, in overnight camp. And it was late at night, and my friends and I were hanging out, of course, up till all hours. When the counselor would leave, we just continue partying. And then I got a phone call that Mashi was born. And Mashi was my oldest niece, so this was my first niece. And I was just delighted beyond, I just remember being so just ecstatic. I was so excited to have my very first niece, Mashi. And of course, when I came back to New York, I was in 8th grade, and my favorite pastime that year, every Sunday when I had the day off from school, I would go shopping for Mashi to buy her some cute little outfits. So it's amazing to have watched Mashi grow up into the beautiful woman and mother that she is. We were overjoyed when Mashi met her husband, Benche, We went with our family to Chicago for their wedding. It was outstanding. It was just a beautiful wedding.
It was freezing.
It was the coldest chuppah we ever were at. It was the middle of the winter in Chicago.
It was freezing, too cold.
Yeah, we took our kids. I remember Yaakov was a baby at that time. And it's just been such a joy watching them build their family and their beautiful community all at the same time, doing it in none other than Phnom Penh. So we're all very anxious and excited to hear from you both. And I also want to give a shout out to some of Mashi's siblings that are on, her parents, Chani and Mendel Moskowitz. You should have so much continued nachas from your beautiful children and your beautiful family that you have raised. I want to welcome, here's Mashi and Bencha's mother and father and mother-in-law and father-in-law. So welcome, Mendel and Chani. And we also have Mashi's sister, Mushka Brickman, who's in Canada, who's watching as well, and lots of other family members. My sister's on from New York, and lots of family excited to see you. We have our aunt, Chana Rachel Schusterman, on as well. She's a great aunt and uncle of Mashi and Bencha, so we have lots of fans here, Mashi and Bencha. Rab Zalman and I talk about you often in our classes. You're a beautiful example of, again, the Rebbe's inspiration and inspiring the younger generation to pick up the most talented couple. You guys could have done anything in the world. You could have been successful at anything you would put your mind to. And you decided instead you were going to devote your life to the Jewish community in Phnom Penh and spread the light and the joy of Judaism and Hasidus and the Rebbe's message, and help the Rebbe realize his dream, one Jew at a time, one person at a time. And it's just beautiful to have you on. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good evening to all.
Amen.
And l'chaim to all.
L'chaim, l'chaim.
Thank you, Benzi, for allowing me to get from the serious mode of where Rebbetzin Wolf from Hanover has placed us back to ground. Wow, this was really moving. We're here in Cambodia for a little more than 10 years. And I know questions are running through your mind. I've heard them from many who have visited. And I'll try to relate to a few. When Mashi and I first met about 13, 14 years ago, and we did meet, not accidentally in the market, but we met for marriage purposes. So this is one of the things we discussed at the very first time we met. Where are we seeing ourselves? Do we want to be a shoemaker? Do we want to be a rabbi? Do I want to be a businessman, and so on? And while we were not clear of where in the world we wanted to be, but we did have clear that we want to have a Chabad house in a place that doesn't yet have one. So no, Cambodia was not part of our plans. In fact, they didn't even know this country existed. But when you try to understand what makes a couple move to such place, and how did he get there, I would go even a few years earlier when, a few years before we moved, a few months before we moved, sorry, when the option came about and the name came up, Rabbi Cantor from Thailand approached us asking if we would come to Thailand, to Cambodia to run Pesach Seder. This is back 2009, April 2009. And at first, Mashi thought it wouldn't be a good idea when we were scheduled to be in Chicago for Pesach, but also for Mashi's brother's bar mitzvah. Mordechai was turning bar mitzvah a few days before Pesach. Our tickets were already booked, and she said it wouldn't be appropriate to cancel a trip like this. And I suggested, why don't you call Mordechai and hear from him what he has to say. So Mashi called Mordechai, and she said to him, you know, we're coming to your bar mitzvah, and then the offer came about. Perhaps we can, Mashi said, we're thinking of turning it down because we're excited to come to your bar mitzvah. What do you think? So Mordechai said, immediately on the spot on the phone, Mordechai said, the greatest gift I can get from you for my bar mitzvah is to know that you are in a place that otherwise would not have had a Pesach Seder. So really, when you try to understand what takes a couple of a 23-year-old to pick themselves up with two young children and move so far away, it's not because the offer was great, and it's not because the conditions were sounding good. It's something we grow up with. It's something we're educated about. It's something we dream of. That's what made Mordechai answer the way he answered. And while my father-in-law, mother-in-law are on, that's a great chance to say thank you for raising the children this way. And so when a couple meet, and when two people meet, and it's important for them to discuss what are we going to do, it was clear for both of us that we're going to be part of this army. Now, we came here first for that Pesach in 2009, and what struck us most out of the many exciting things, you know, we were asked for by the Rabbi and Rabbi Marcus to send some exotic photos. We don't really have such. Some of the photos they got are actually from visitors that, like from Mashi's family that visited here, because for us it's a daily life. Just before we were asked to speak, a monkey passed through the windows of Mashi. Maybe can show you a photo. It's a little hard with a reflection here. This is a part of our Aron Kodesh, and that is a monkey sitting out of our window on the electricity lines.
Can you show that again? Can you show that again?
Show it again, Mashi.
Maybe send it to her by WhatsApp. She'll be able to show it. It's a little harder.
Screening? Oh.
She will do the share screen. I don't know how to do this.
I'll send it to Basi.
Basi will send it to your phone. Maybe it will be easier like this. It's a little hard to see on the thing. The monkey it's funny because we have windows within the Aron Kodesh, like on both sides, and the monkey decided to just pass there. It's actually it's unique for us also because it's not something that was here throughout the 10 years. There are monkeys in the other side of town. Recently they've started coming here. We've spotted them a few times, but it's the first time we have a photo of it. So part of the
even the monkeys are finding out about Chabad. Even the monkeys are finding out about Chabad.
Yep. They heard there's a Farbrengen with Mission Viejo. They figured it's a great time to join. So a lot of exotic and interesting things, you know, that coming from US to Cambodia, Tirana Seder, it was really challenging. Maybe less for me, more for Mashi. Trying to educate the local helpers to cut a salad was hard. Delivering a Seder for 70 people with such a short notice and out of no place, without any background, it was really, really challenging. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of tension also as well. You know, preparing for Pesach is never easy. But what we saw and appealed to us so strongly is the extreme thirst that Jews have expressed for what we were doing and for us to stay. Like at the Seder, our afikoman was stolen. And I said to the people, like, well, what do you want? Want me to buy you an iPhone? Like, what are you, like, they said, we want an afikoman present in order to continue the Seder. I said, what do you want? They said, we want you to promise us that there will be a permanent Chabad center in Cambodia.
Wow.
You know, later in the week when we were boarding our flight, someone came board from another flight in the airport, and I always show this place to Mashi when between gate 4 and gate 5. I remember that place when we were standing. He came running and he said, "How are you? My name is Adam, and you know, I want to stay in touch with you." I thought something happened. Really, like he took out his business card. He circularized his personal phone number. And he said we should contact him when we come to New York. I'm like, Adam, did something go wrong? He's like, no, everything's okay. We asked of you to come permanently. I want to follow up on it, see what's going on. And I remember he had to run back to his flight. I was holding, he was giving me the card with two hands like they do here, and I was holding the card with two hands, and I turned to Masha. I said, Masha, look, we'll move to Peachtree City in Atlanta, which was one of the options we looked into earlier on, and Jews will see the rabbi and will cross the road not to engage him. You know, you'll call up someone and ask him if he's Jewish. He'll say no, even though his last name is Cohen. You're going to meet him in the supermarket when he's buying a filter fish, so he can't deny you anymore. So he's going to give you a business card, making sure that it's only the secretary's phone number on it. It's going to be hard to get into people's heart. And look how it is here when people go out of their way to reach out, and the thirst, the interest, the excitement is so big that it's worth paying the price of all what we have paid. And yeah, the price hasn't gotten any easier. Truth.
Benja, are you able to see when I share the screen?
I'm actually in a phone because the let's see.
Do you see, like, we just put up the button?
I just shared the screen. Can you see it?
Yes, I saw it. I moved away from it because I was seeing myself before, but yeah.
Yeah, so what we did was we put together a whole bunch of pictures here. Obviously this is, these are a lot of kids here. Did you
I recognize some of
get
them.
all these kids? Are these all yours?
Yeah.
Wow, Kanaina Hart.
Myself, nobody was with me, yes.
This is beautiful. All raised. Now, where were they born, these kids?
So the first two were born in the U.S. Zalman, you want to come around and say hello? Zalman is also here with us, and Zalman is our oldest, making both my parents, Masha's parents, into grandparents, and also both grandparents on both sides to great-grandparents. So Zalman was...
I remember when Zalman was born, it was right around the women's, the Rebbitzins conference in February, around Chaf B'Shvat time, and I remember coming to visit you. Zalman, you were a few days old, and I came with Shayna. Our Shayna is just a little bit older than you. She was a baby, like maybe 3-4 months old, and you were, so it's amazing to see you're all grown up. It's almost your bar mitzvah.
What? When did that happen? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 6 more months, that's right.
Wow.
So Zalman was born prior to the first time he heard the name Cambodia, and he came with us for Pesach in 2009. He was then 1 year old. Mushka was born between our first trip and coming permanently. 2 more children, Shmulik and Henya. Shmulik is also here and he'll come to say hi. Shmulik and Henya were born in Israel. We went especially to Israel for birth, figuring out that, you know, may not be the safest place to give birth at. Say hello, Shmulik.
Oh, 1 second.
1 second.
Are you seeing me? You see the screen share? When I share the screen, we can't see you. So.
Hi, Shmulik. Hi. Hi.
I have the pleasure, the honor and privilege and pleasure and joy to spend my mornings with them. Pre-corona was about 2 hours, 2.5 hours together. Now I have more time. We spend 4 hours in the morning together. We study together. We daven together. We study together again. It's real fun. And now that you interrupted our morning schedules, they're here around as part of our...
Well, tell us, how old are you, Shmulik? How old are you? 9.
Oh, wow.
Is Mushka there? Can we see Mushka?
Mushka is home. We can get her down. You want to go to Mushka? Okay.
She'll be here soon.
We're at Chabad. Mushka's at the house. She's gonna go from the Chabad to the house. I'm just kidding. He's gonna take the elevator upstairs and gonna be back in 2 minutes. Go.
There's an elevator in your Chabad house?
Yeah. We have, thank God, a 6-story building that includes everything.
Can you see the picture?
That's yes, right. That's our building. And that includes everything aside for the Jewish cemetery that we established. It has ladies' mikvah and men's mikvah, an industrial kitchen with a restaurant, a shul, which we're at now, a social hall, a residence, a library, guest units, preschool, storage of offices, and of course, sukkah, the beautiful balcony on the roof, a beautiful rooftop. And
where is your house? Where do you guys live?
We live in the small windows. Like there's big round windows on the bottom and then big round, right? The small windows are on the house.
Wow.
And that also gives us a little balcony in the smaller part, which
Over
is
here.
also the sukkah, right? That's right. That's our balcony, and also the sukkah on Sukkot.
So what's on top of with those big windows? What's on top in the big windows?
These are different floors. It's separated. It has guest units, and it has preschool, men's mikvah is also upstairs, and storage and offices. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. This is unbelievable. How many square feet is this building?
It's about 10,000.
Whew. Oh my goodness. Now, what exactly is this? We couldn't read it.
What language is it?
This is in Cambodian. It's called Khmer.
I'll give you a secret. I can't read it either.
Mashi, how long did it take you to learn this language?
So we have local staff who help us out in our Chabad. They cook in our restaurants, etc. And most of them are only Khmer speaking. We actually have a house help, a woman who helps us out in our house, and she's Khmer speaking. And so that's how, just interacting with them slowly throughout the years, you pick up a bit of a vocabulary, and now we can somewhat communicate with them.
Wow.
Here's
So what is this? So what is this document? One second. One second.
What is this document?
Oh, let's say hello to Mishka.
Hi, Mushka. How old are you, Mushka?
Almost 11.
Almost 11. Wow.
That's right. It's in 3 weeks.
Beautiful. So early happy birthday to you, Mushka.
Wow. It's incredible to see you. Okay, so this is a document saying that.
This is a document that, as you wrote, official. This is from Ministry of Cult and Religion, because that's how it works here. First cult and religion, and it was funny because when we first came here and I spoke to the local lawyer, a lawyer that lives locally. Can you guess his name? Yeah,
Cohen.
This is Cohen. That's right. His name is Jake Cohen. One out of 4 Jewish lawyers in town. So when I spoke to him and I explained to him that I want to become official, he said there's no need for it because the situation with businesses is very easy. You don't have to present any papers. I said to him, for us, it's very important to be recognized officially. So he suggested that I open a business, and we do it like as if we're a business. I said, no. I want to be recognized for who I am, not just to be supported legally. He said, well, that's going to be sophisticated. I can't help you with that. And I ended up doing it myself. Of course, with help of the local people, but not through an office. I went there to the Ministry of Cult and requested recognition. So they said, well, we don't actually endorse other religions. So I said, you endorsed Christianity, you endorsed Islam. I see here mosques and churches. They said, well, Islam and Christianity are out there for 2,000 years. But you guys are new. So we're not taking any of that. After a long process, we got a recognition from Ministry of Religion. And actually, it was very practical help recently when religious gatherings were banned due to the virus. In fact, it was a religious gathering, Muslim gathering in Malaysia that brought half the cases of then. It was 60 cases in the country, out of which 30 came from people returning from a Malaysian religious event. So they banned all religious events in the country. So I called up my contact in the Ministry of Religion, someone who is really a big believer in Jews and Judaism. And I said to him, hey, we're banned from running our prayers. Who will protect the country? And he said, yeah, you're right. Let me get back to you. He made a few phone calls. He called me up. He says, I've shown photos of your place to my boss. He said, up to 30 people in your place. We know your place. We know a thing. Up to 30 people you can still have. So we were actually having services throughout this past few months when big, large, hundreds of years of shuls that have been open for hundreds of years had to close down. We were here open and have minyanim throughout the pandemic and hoping to do so in the future too. I just wanted to mention, you said when you introduced me, that we chose to do this versus having a business or something. At the inauguration of this large, beautiful building, we had here a businessman who deals with real estate in New York City. And he's a very successful businessman. And he said to me, Rabbi, this is really amazing what you've done here. If only you did real estate in New York City, I can imagine what you did. So I said, Alex, and then it's actually the other way around. If only you quitted your job and opened a Chabad house in Siem Reap, which is the other town here, I can imagine what you have done there.
Excellent. Now, can you see the screen, Bencha?
Yes, I can.
So this is the mikvah.
Beautiful mikvah that we have on our ground floor. It's like a hidden spa within the Chabad house. And we have, Baruch Hashem, we have local women from the local community, and we also get a lot of Israeli backpackers. I'm not speaking Corona era, but lots of backpackers and young couples come on a honeymoon to Southeast Asia. So a lot of young newly married women come and use this beautiful mikvah of ours.
What did you do before the mikvah?
I used to travel by plane to Bangkok, Thailand, once a month.
How far is that? How far is that?
It's about a 50-minute flight. 50-minute flight.
Wow.
I remember that. She used to leave the house at like midday and
come back early the next morning because there was no flight home. Late enough for me to come home that night. So it was quite a travel.
Wow.
So this is life in Cambodia.
Here is a story, right? I just want to say one more story about the mikvah. We had over a lady from the Singaporean community. She came for Shabbos, and she was exposed to our life story and the situation and so on. And the following week, I went to New York to the international conference at the Kinus HaShluchim, and I met a rabbi from Singapore. He came to me, he gave me a big hug. He said, "You don't know what you have done to me." This lady is actually coming from a family of rabbis, and she's dropped Judaism totally and has been away for a long time, like 10 years. And then in Singapore, she started slowly taking steps, progressing slowly. We tried to speak to her about mikvah, but she refused this. It was like she put a veto. A mikvah is not an option. She went to you, and we called you up in advance and made sure that you're treating her well. And she came back from Cambodia. She called me up. She called my wife up immediately, says to me, Rabbi Rivni, and she says, "I don't understand myself. This lady, Miss Rabbi Tzimbutzman in Cambodia, flies to Bangkok once a month and stays over a night and comes back just to do the mikvah. I have a mikvah around the corner, and I say no to it. I'm starting mikvah." That's what she said. This was about midday in New York. I immediately picked up the phone. I didn't think twice. And I called Mashi. I said, "Mashi, I have a story." She got nervous. It was 1 a.m. here. She's like, "What's going on with why are you calling so late?" So I shared with her this story. Now, I didn't even realize that I woke her up. So she says to me, "Well, if with that being said, then the mikveh has already accomplished what it has to accomplish. My flights to Bangkok have proven to accomplish this. Now that this is accomplished and she has committed herself, it's time for us to have our own mikveh." That very evening, I said the story to someone who gave a $30,000 check that was actually the seed money for later on this building.
Wow, that is amazing. Amazing, amazing. So that's the story of the mikvah. This is what life in Cambodia looks like if you look out of your window, I guess. And that's, what is that, a tuk-tuk?
That's how they travel,
right? A tuk-tuk, yes. It used to be a horse and wagon. So in Cambodia, it's not anymore a horse and wagon. It's a motorbike and wagon. So these are actually my sister-in-law. This is Mushka with her husband and some of our kids. These are markets, local markets. That's how it looks like. Yes, sounds familiar.
This is how you go shopping.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
The local markets and all the...
Looks like you have here, you're doing some challah here.
This is Mashi's Jewish Women's Circle. This is from many years ago because I see only a few people. Friday night candle lighting. Yeah, this is both these photos are in the old Chabad. These are photos from the real beginning.
These are probably also from the beginning.
Right. This is also beginning. Both events, Hanukkah events in the shul upstairs, and then with some travelers. This is our mortar. This is our tuk-tuk sukkah. As you can see, in the background is Independence Monument, which is the real center of town. It's about 10 minutes. We're centrally located, 3 minutes walk from the Royal Palace, 7 minutes walk or 10 minutes walk from the monument that you see in the photo, and 2 minutes walk from the river. So the tuk-tuk sukkah, we took a local tuk-tuk and we turned it into a sukkah, running around town, inviting people to do the lulav. Here is an event. This is actually a group that joined us for Shabbos.
This is your new Chabad house yet?
No, this is not new Chabad. No, this is the old Chabad.
Got it.
This is a roof. This is on the rooftop of our new Chabad. This is the Kala. You can see here in the center is a part of our community. The groom is originally from Israel, but lives in Bangkok. They got married here on our rooftop and are now living in Bangkok happily with a child.
Wow. Unbelievable. So how many Jews actually live in Cambodia?
Good question. I would say about 100 Jews regularly in Phnom Penh. There are Jews in other towns, maybe another 80 scattered all around in more central places or real remote places, because Jews know how to get everywhere. I was once called by a church to rescue a Jew they thought he was dying. He was, because of the lack of treatment. We transferred him then to Phnom Penh and saved his life. But he lived in such a remote village that one of the things when I came back, I said to Mashi, if someone lived in Bavet, then every little home you travel on it's not really a highway, but when you travel between the cities and you see like a kilometer empty and then suddenly a small house and then another kilometer empty, that potentially that house is a Jew too. Okay, really
amazing. Benja, would you mind giving us a little bit of a tour, since we don't have any pictures of your Chabad house? Could you give us a little walk around tour of your Chabad? One thing that was very interesting to me is that apparently you've got Wi-Fi in Cambodia. Oh wow!
Right, we have Wi-Fi. Yes. So this is our shul. It's a little hard to see the Aron Kodesh with the lighting. Let me see, maybe from here. Okay, this is a little easier. This is the shul. It is now empty because we keep the distance, so the chairs are scattered 2 meters apart. But usually, ladies section is on the left, men's section is on the right. We have 2 sizes for the shul, where we have like the regular size fitting about 50 people, and then for bar mitzvahs or holidays, we can fit up to 120 people. Ladies section is right now here. It's a one-way see-through wall, and it serves as my office in the weekday. A little mess here. Sorry, forgive me. I wasn't expecting this. So this is the floor of the shul. This is first floor. Then under us is ground floor, where the entrance is. The restaurant is there. The industrial kitchen, and the ladies' mikvah, which has a separate entry. I'm now going up 1 floor to the social hall. We're doing what everyone does coming from Kabbalat Shabbat to the shul. We have, again, and now is Corona time, so the only 1 table, double, to keep people far from each other, with less chairs. Well, at an average Friday night.
Oh, I think we lost you.
Well, while we're waiting for them, going to show you the picture of that monkey that we had before.
Go up to...
Oh,
Oh, Benja, we lost you for a minute.
Benja,
Yeah.
we lost you for a moment there. We have a couple of questions for you. Number one, did you build this building or was it already there? Oh, looks like we lost you again. No, I think the Wi-Fi worked only in the shoal. But let me, I want to share that picture that he shared before. This is the ark. This is the ark, and there's the monkey looking through the window right next to the Aron Kodesh. So that's really...
that was, he said, a few hours ago.
Just a few hours ago.
Just a little taste of life in Cambodia.
Okay, looks like we lost connection with them. So hopefully we'll reconnect with them, but we'll get to see them. So, okay, looks like we lost them. Okay.
Okay, so I'm sure they'll come back, but if anybody has any other questions, you could post them in the chat.
Here we are.
Oh, there they are. They're back.
You're back. We lost you for a minute there.
Oh, we lost you again. Hello? Oh, boy. Looks like we lost them.
Lost again?
Yes, yes. We keep on losing you. Your Wi-Fi is working, but not that good.
No, okay. I see what happened. The Wi-Fi went off and now went on again. Every time it switches between this and mobile data, I had a hard time. Okay, now I'm back. You see what I'm sharing?
Did you build your building from scratch, or was it there?
So here, what was there before? I'm now in second floor, and here you can see
your network. Your bandwidth is low, so we can't see anything.
Batteries. What is low?
Bandwidth, so it's not, you're not getting good reception.
I see.
Oh, now I'm seeing you.
Now we see you.
Okay, so I was showing you out of the window the neighboring homes. This is how the house looked like about before we knocked it down and built this building from scratch. And the building was built based on our needs, designed to serve what we need here. So yeah, we built from scratch.
Amazing. Wow. And in your restaurant, do you serve Jewish regular food or kosher Cambodian food? That was a question from Wendy.
We see, the funny thing is we do have some Cambodian things in the menu, but Jews usually come and they say, it's so nice, you have tom yam soup, you have bokolok, and then do you have also schnitzel? People like to see it on the menu, but practically speaking, most portions ordered are, what people are used to. They want hummus, they want falafel, they want schnitzel, they want chicken leg, and so on, and meatballs. So we have it all. We have it all, and let me see if I can take you. I'm afraid to lose you again if I go by the elevator. But let me. Where are the kinderlach? Can you check if they're downstairs in the social hall? Moga's going to go check where they are because we asked them to come down. If I knew I'm giving you a tour, I would have gone with you to the preschool.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the entry to the building. You can see here 2 floors down. This is our skylight. Here's Shayna.
Benja, you're too low. It's too you don't have a strong signal. Oh, there we go. Now we're seeing something.
Shayna.
Hi, Shayna. How old is Shayna?
Shayna is 1.5 years, but she's just graduated school. Okay, she looks like she didn't wake up yet.
Okay, Benja, it's we don't have good reception, so it's hard to see, and we want to finish up the program. So maybe we'll take a break here, and then we'll catch back up with you when you get all the kids together. How's that? I guess so. Okay, so give them we'll text them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to switch back over to my brother Ben Sion. We have Ben Sion Bookman, who's Benja, and we have Benzi, my brother. And it's unbelievable to see what's going on, what Chabad is doing in Phnom Penh, what Mashi and Bench are doing. We want to give them a big bracha, and we hope to be able to see the rest of their family when they get the reception up. So I'm going to pull up my brother over here. It's almost getting close to the end here. And Bensi, you've been very, very patient. I told you we were going to come on at 7:25, and it's already 8:25. You're a patient man.
Good.
You're a patient man, Bensi.
That was beautiful.
Yes, unbelievable, huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're ready for some more melodies.
Yeah, we're let's sing some more, and then we'll maybe we'll get to see that family. For them, it's just morning there. They're just waking up. You know.
I told Mashi when she gets her family all together later, we'll highlight them again so everybody can see them all.
Very nice. So I wanted to do another one of the nigunim, another one of the beautiful melodies that the Rebbe taught. He taught 14 total that are well known, and this one actually is this is a shul classic that we would sing every Shabbos. I know some of us haven't been to shul in a while, so this will be some good nostalgia, and hopefully this pandemic comes to a swift end. Everybody happy and healthy, and we can sing this all together in shul once again.
Amen.
Here. Hu Elokeinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Mashiachenu, Hu Yeshenu, Ve'yigodenu. Ay, 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 Shenis V'Koroi Ve'yashmienu, Ve'rachamolei. Kol Chayilei Moed Hego Al Tiaschem Acharis Ki Yiverei Shisli Yislachem Le'elo Yikim Nayin 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 Tiridayin Nayin Tiridayin Nayin 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 Oh, Malkeinu, Mashiachenu, Yeshenu, Yidalenu, ay, 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 Shenis V'Koroi Ve'yashmienu, Ve'rachamolei. Kol Chayilei Moed Hego Al Tiaschem Acharis Yiverei Shisli Yislachem Le'elo Yikim.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you so much to Elokeinu. This is another uplifting and upbeat, beautiful melody the Rebbe taught. I'll do a little bit of a medley. It's a melody and a medley. Two different things. So this is a melody that will lead into a medley of other Hasidic tunes. Maybe we can get a little dancing, a little clapping. Rabbi, I don't know, what do you think?
Oh yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds great. Put your hands together, everybody.
Hey, Tumba, Nafshi, come, sorry. Hey, Tumba, Nafshi, come, sorry. Ay, 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 did-it-a-dum, did-it-a-la-la, did-it-a-dum, did-it-a-la-la-la-la, ay, 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 did-it-a-da-da-da. Did
Hey, summer, 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 the summer banasi. Come, 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 sorry. Hey, summer, 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 the summer banasi. Come, 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 sorry. Ay, 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 dididam, dididalala, dididam, dididam, ay, 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 dididam.
Wow. So much. Nancy, Yasher Koyach, Yasher Koyach. Wow.
Koyach to you.
Everybody was getting into it, and we were so happy. That was great. We spotlighted all the people who were clapping along and had their videos on. Beautiful. That was great. That was awesome. I'm going to bring Bencha back on. I think he's with his family now. We're going to get to see them in a second. Let's see if we can still see them.
They're in the preschool now.
Let's see. Bencha?
Yes.
Okay. Unmuted. Okay. Unmute.
Unmute. Okay.
Oh, here we are. Wow, what a beautiful preschool.
Okay.
I want to go there.
So here are Hanya. Hanya, say hello. Say louder, everyone can hear you. This is Hanya Khasha. And then, what's your name? Moishe. This is our Moishe, our sweet Moishe. And?
He's named after my father.
And Levak. It's Levik.
Levik.
Okay, this is cool. Here it is with Masha's beautiful design with the clouds on top. So the place split to 6 colors, and then where they are in the morning. And then from the morning, here is the afternoon online school, again with the same 6 scholars. Each of them has a computer. They connect to their classes. Here, Zaman is going to log on their class for you. So, I mean, today with Zoom, it's a little easier to understand, but the school is going on already for 10 years, giving the ability for each student to be seen and heard, to raise hands, to write to everyone, and to write directly to the teacher. This is the school website. Soon is going to log on to the class. And that's all part of floor 5. Okay.
Wow. Benja, thank you so much. This is amazing.
Beautiful.
You guys did an amazing job there. We are so impressed.
We all want to come visit now.
We want to come and visit. When can we?
Here's a little surprise. Can you guess what's on this door? Hint is the tall handle. That's for security, for safe. And that's floor number 5. And this is men's mikvah.
Oh wow.
Right here. Yeah.
Amazing.
The lighting is not so great, but
looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Wow.
School Kinderlach, you want to say goodbye to everyone?
Have a great day. Today's a special day. Gimmel Tammuz for all of you.
Bye, Buttmans.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for hosting us.
Thank you so much for sharing.
It was great to see you. We feel like we were in your house and in your Chabad house today. So we get to see a little taste of your life.
Open up the curtain over there.
So beautiful. Can I
show you the Royal Palace a second? Let me show you the Royal Palace right here. It's just a lot of lights. Here is again the city, and this right here. The first thing over with the sticking out is Supreme Court. Let me try to zoom in. Here I can zoom in. That's Supreme Court right here. And on the left, this area is the Royal Palace.
Wow.
It's about a walk from us. Then let me go a little bit. That's a river. Let me see if you can see more. Yeah, here we can see more of the river. That's the Tonde Mekong River. And that's the Ministry of Religion and Culture and Religion. It's called.
Amazing. Wow. We are so, one of the blessings of this pandemic is that we got to see you and experience Chabad of Cambodia, which our community never was there. I was never there. And
it's time for you to come.
Yeah, now we have to come.
Definitely.
Wow. Thank you so much, Benja.
Thank you, Mashi. Thank you, Benja. Thank you
to all the kids.
Beautiful
so much success to you. And Mashiach should come right away and bring you guys all together with your beautiful Chabad house and bring it to Eretz Yisrael. And with Mashiach, with the Rebbe. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Good night for you all. And hope the life after this event won't be the same as before. Learning from the Rebbe to always add and always change.
Wow. Thank you so much. It was wonderful, amazing, incredible. And so thank you to my brother Bensi. We do have a few people who would like to share. Bensi, if you're still on, we'd love to hear some more songs if you're still up for it. I know we're way over time. If you're up for it, I think our community is definitely up for hearing it. We are going to go now to Daniela Kalai. First we'll go to, is Bensi on? Well, if he comes on, great. If not, we'll have him later. So we're going to go now to, we have Adam is on. Adam, we're going to highlight you and unmute you. Unmute. And spotlight. There you are. Hello, Adam. First of all, how's your mother?
Hello, Rabbi. Can you hear me?
Yes. How's your mother?
Oh, she's doing well. She had her first treatment today, so.
You sound very far away from the microphone. It's very hard to hear you.
Give me a second.
Much better now. Much better.
Better?
Much better.
She had her first treatment today and went well.
So we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that she gets better.
So Adam, thank you so much for agreeing to talk. You know, you started coming to the Tanya class a couple of years ago. And then, you know, you started learning the Tanya, you started getting to know about Chabad, learning about the Rebbe, and then you had a very interesting surprise that happened. If you could tell us about that surprise.
I did. Not this Pesach, but Pesach last year, I was in the desert with my father-in-law, and we were sitting outside, and I was excitedly telling him about studying Tanya and all that I had learned. And they actually had some handouts there with stories about the Rebbe. And I mentioned to him that I'd been reading some of the stories during Pesach as we were sitting with the family. And he said, you know, I have my own story of meeting the Rebbe. And he said to me that a number of years ago, he was invited to Shabbat at 770. And although I've never had the honor of being there myself, he said that it was a very crowded room. And I don't know how many people, but the Rebbe was sitting in the front, and at one point during the service, the Rebbe was looking around at the crowd, and my father-in-law said that as the Rebbe was sweeping across and looking at various people, he glanced at my father-in-law, and my father-in-law felt as though he saw him, you know, in that moment. He felt something come over him as the Rebbe looked over the crowd. And then a couple of days later, he was invited to a private meeting with the Rebbe. And the gentleman that brought him to the Rebbe said, you know, Rebbe, this is Perry Green. I'd like to introduce you to him. And the Rebbe looked at my brother-in-law and he said, I already know him. I already know him. And Perry said to me, he just felt this cold go over him, his whole body. Just, he couldn't believe that this man had said this to him, and he felt that connection, you know, from 2 days before, and I already know him. So wow. I was very moved by that story.
Wow.
Very, very incredible.
Wow. And you thought that you really didn't have a connection to the Rebbe in your life, and here you find out that in your family, someone had a personal experience. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
But that's what it was. When the Rebbe, when you met him and he looked at you, he literally saw you. You were seen. It's extremely powerful. And that's what Gail was telling me earlier today, is that she felt like that's when she felt like she knew herself. She knew herself when she was in his presence. That it's just very powerful. Very, very powerful.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, Adam. And we want to wish your mother that she should have a complete recovery.
Thank you.
And you're being a great son and taking such good care of her. And she obviously raised a good boy. A mensch. You did a good job.
Thank you for both for putting on this wonderful program. I have to say that it's been very moving from the beginning, and really enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
Wow. Well, thank you, Adam, so much.
Say hi to Tammy from us.
Yes.
Thank you. I will.
And at this time, we're going to switch over. This is an amazing moment right now, and that is that our C-teeners have been hanging out together
at the beach,
having a great time together. And Daniela is with us. Hello, Daniela.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are so happy that the C-teens are keeping up their connection all the teens that went on the Shabbaton. You guys are all connected to each other. That's wonderful. And we just wanted to hear from you. You know, you grew up in Orange County, California, in Mission Viejo, and the Rebbe was in New York and had passed away
way before you were born. And so what's
And
your connection?
What's your connection?
For those of you who don't know, on the New York Shabbaton, we go to the Ohel. So I've been 4 times, and each time it was really, really incredible. So we go in, we write our note to the Rebbe, and it's just like, we basically like release like everything in our heads, all of our stress, all of our, every like prayers and like blessings that we want and things we're struggling with. And then we write it all down, and it's really emotional, and like a lot of us have cried during it, and it's just really it's like bonding with yourself, and it's really great. And then we go to the gravesite and we light a candle, we say some prayers, and then we rip up our note, we read our note, we like whisper it or we say it in our heads, and we rip it up, and it's so like it's like a renewal where like we just wrote down everything that we were thinking, everything going on, and now we ripped it up and we gave it to the Rebbe, and now it's in his hands, and now it's like we're giving control and putting our faith in the Rebbe and in Hashem, and saying like, okay, if this is a lot for me to handle, and I have faith that they can help me. So it's really, really, it's such a great experience. It's so strong. It's like, no matter where I am, it's like I know that like what I asked for, the Rebbe is there. Like he heard it, he knows. And like each year when I go back, I'm, you know, I have different things to say because it changed the whole year before, you know, stuff got better, stuff, you know, so it was really, it's really like eye-opening to see how it actually, what kind of connection you can form, and like the self-reflection that you can do, and to know that you always have like your Judaism, and you always have your faith and your community and the friends that you make. So yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's amazing,
That's
Daniela.
beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Daniela, tell everybody what you've been working on this last little while.
Yes. So I'm working with teens from all over the world, and we're planning an event kind of like this for tomorrow night in honor of the Rebbe. And it's a giant C-Teen Zoom, and we planned games, and we planned speakers and raffle prizes. And so we've been kind of all working together. And it was also like another great way just to like get closer to, you know, other Jews and realize like what's important.
So who's putting this on, the teens or the rabbis?
The teens.
Wow.
Yep, we planned the whole thing.
It's really special.
Amazing.
It's 26 teens working together because it's been 26 years since the Rebbe passed away, right? That's what I saw.
Yeah.
And you were one of the lucky 26. So we're so proud
Yes.
to have a representative from our Mission Viejo chapter. Go, Daniela.
Yes.
I'm so glad I got to work on it. It was really fun. It was really good.
Fantastic. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
Daniela.
much.
And to me, what's so amazing about what Daniela shared, and all of her friends who are sitting with her, are they all in the car with you, by the way?
So they're right over there, if you can see.
Oh my gosh. You just went to the car, so it'd be quiet.
Yeah, a little bit quieter.
But what's so amazing to me, Daniela, is I know that at the New York Shabbaton, there's so much excitement going on, and there's Manhattan and Times Square and all the sightseeing and all the friends that you're making and all the new fans, friends you're making for social media and all that. But what's so amazing to me is this year when you came back, and you came together, we had like a Shabbat Kiddush luncheon honoring all the teens. It was so amazing to me that you and so many of the other teens said that your absolute highlight was visiting the Rebbe's gravesite. And to me, that was just mind-blowing that teens of today would say that that was their highlight. That's where they felt like they they were most impacted. That just says a lot about you, and it's just really special. So.
Yeah, you know, like, I mean, a big part of it is obviously meeting people and getting to know different people around the world and bonding. But, you know, we all realize deep down that, like, we go because we want a deeper connection with our faith. And so the OHEL, like, is just the perfect place. And we all realize that that's what we need.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Daniela.
Send regards to everybody when you go back.
Yes. Bye. See you
We'll
soon.
see you tomorrow night.
See you tomorrow
night on
Yeah.
the season.
Yeah. Come on tomorrow.
Okay, we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay. Wow. Unbelievable. And we've got Mark Frauman. You're here. And I'm going to unmute you and spotlight you. Hello, Mordechai.
Well, hello. This has been a wonderful presentation. I think I still prefer the one in Hawaii only because I love Hawaii so much. But this has been fantastic when you're doing this.
Yeah, it's hard to beat Maui.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I've scuba dived just a few miles away from where their farm is.
Wow. So Mordechai, tell us a little bit about your connection. You've come on a very interesting and beautiful journey, and I'd love to hear about your connection.
It's kind of important for those who don't know me that well that understand where I'm coming from. And I understood prayer from an intellectual standpoint, but prayer to me was, I didn't understand, anything really from a spiritual standpoint or from a connection with Hashem. And I keep going back to something that a professor of mine in comparative religion in college many, many decades ago, at least 4 decades ago, made a comment one time that if you really want to know a people, study their prayers. Look what they pray for. And my understanding of Jewish prayer was, first of all, it was plural. It was about community. It wasn't about individuals. You didn't ask for something for yourself. And we didn't ask for things that are basically very typical in Christian prayers, where you're we're not looking for wealth, we're not looking for power or anything like that. So when the opportunity came to go to the OHEL and pray, I didn't have the slightest idea of what to do. But it kind of came together because it was also on a Shabbaton, like Daniela said, and I had just started pretty much with Chabad. Didn't speak any Hebrew, didn't have any of the background. And just prior to leaving, we had found out that my wife was ill. We didn't know exactly how bad. We knew she had cancer, and this was the second time she had had cancer. But didn't realize at all really how bad it might have been. She insisted that I get on the plane and go. It was just for a weekend. Said we're not going to know anything until Tuesday, Wednesday at the earliest. So I went ahead and went. And of course, what happened was when we got off the plane and I went to check my messages, as we're in the area, just as you've gotten off the plane, we're still in the gate area. And the message was that I should call her immediately. And what we found out was that she had 2 forms of cancer. One form was a type of cancer that just a few years ago, about 15 years ago, was 95% fatal. And she knew that if she had told me, I wouldn't have gone. So she decided that there was nothing that I can do anyways, even though I always think I can fix anything. But she, basically told me, you just need to go. After getting confirmation from her oncologist, we did, and we went off and I went to the Shabbaton and had a fantastic time. When it came time to go to the OHEL, we're all put into this room where you write your notes, and this is basically your prayers. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm not worthy because I didn't. My faith wasn't strong. My belief system. I was just a very confused and very just confused, not exactly sure what to do at that particular point. So I wrote a very, very simple prayer. I kept thinking in Jewish prayers, you're not supposed to pray for yourself, but the prayer was obviously for my wife and for her recovery. And I didn't have that overwhelming feeling when I went to the Ohel that something was happening, but at the same time, I kept that sense of community. The people that were around us, standing around there, praying and putting their notes in, I got this unbelievable sense of belonging. It's something that I had never, ever felt before. When I was in the military, I felt something like that, but nothing this strong. Anyways, when the Shabbaton was over, I hightailed it back home. My wife went through, anybody who's had cancer can understand this. She went through hell for a year. Everything from the chemo, radiation, surgery, the whole bit. A couple years later, she had, pretty much recovered, obviously, and we had the opportunity. We were going to Israel. It was the same trip that Gail mentioned earlier, and I flew into New York and arranged to go straight to the Ohel and simply wrote out a note that just said thank you, because this is the first time ever in my life that I felt that I was getting help. I didn't have to fix everything. There was others there to help me. So that was a connection that I will not pretend to understand. I'm just glad it was there. And here it is a few years later, and she's still healthy and still telling me to stop trying to fix things.
Wow. Thank you, Mark.
Oh my gosh, wow.
And Linda is an absolute angel.
Yeah, she gets on my case all the time when she asks me. She knows I'm doing the Torah study every week, that I'm trying to get myself a bit more knowledgeable, so I'm not just winging it, not just going off feelings, which have been pretty good. But she just left on a short trip, came back last night, and said, "So how far behind are you?" Two parshas. All right, we'll get to work.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing.
Wow. That's incredible. Wow. I don't know about all of you out there, but we're sure getting filled up over here with all of these incredible experiences and so on. But in the last 5 minutes here, we'd like to bring this home, and the Rebbe was always a man about action. And Mark, you always said that you read the Rebbe's book, and here it is. I brought the book here in case you don't have it. This is a book recommended, and I think it made a big impact on Mark and Mordechai. Yep, there's your copy.
Wendy, are you still on? Because Wendy talks about this a lot also, right? Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I have other books here too. Yes. So this book, if you don't have this book yet, I think it's a good idea to get this book. But one of the things that inspired Mordechai from the book was the Rebbe's insistence on do it now. Mm-hmm. It's all about doing it now. Don't push it off. Like there are some people on here who put on tefillin every day. They didn't put them on their whole life, but you want to raise your hand if you recently started putting on tefillin every day. So there he goes. Okay, I didn't want to out anybody if they didn't want to be outed, but Adam, yes. Anybody else pick up their hand there? I couldn't see. Or lighting Shabbos candles. If you start lighting Shabbos candles, it's like, well, I'll do it next week. I'll do it when I get older. I'll do it when I retire. The Rebbe said, do it now. Don't push off any good thing. Do it now. Absolutely. And so this was one book that I thought, I would highlight. There's another book here that Mordechai was holding up, and that is the book My Story, which is, I'm blocking it. There you go, you want to hold it? That's My Story. It's another great book, and if you don't know where to get it, just reach out to us.
Yeah.
And there is this book here. It's called Toward a Meaningful Life, Wisdom from the Rebbe by Simon Jacobson.
It's Bensie's father-in-law.
Yes. And that's a many copies of that have been sold. And then there are lots of other books around here. Positivity Bias. So we have a couple of books. We have in the office, as you can see. So if you'd like a copy of it, you can pick one up here in the office. We've got Positivity Bias. This is the Rebbe's Positivity. Mark, you're holding up something, but hold on one second. I can't see it. I got to highlight you. There we go. Oh, the longer, shorter way by, yeah, that's on the Tanya. Very good. Yes. Yes, beautiful. And then we have this one is one by one. And we've got, I just figured I'd pick all the books that are easy reads. We've got Seeds of Wisdom 1, Seeds of Wisdom 2. We got
Bringing Heaven Down to Earth.
Bringing Heaven Down to Earth, 365 Meditations, and Inclusion and the Power of the Individual. Okay, that's just some that I found. I just walked around the house and picked up a few books. There's plenty more. But that's just getting to know the Rebbe, because the Rebbe's impact is unbelievable. It's we are so blessed to have such a towering, holy, godly presence that really guides our generation and continues to guide our generation. We talk about the Rebbe passing away, but only in the physical sense, because the Rebbe wasn't very physical when he was here. He was pretty much lived a spiritual life, and a spiritual life never comes to an end. And the Rebbe's life is dedicated to this world and to fulfilling God's ultimate purpose for creation, which is bringing heaven down to earth. And that's really what the Rebbe set his goal to do. And the Rebbe set his goal that he wasn't going to do it himself, but he was going to empower every single one of us to join him with it. So that's what we want to impress upon each of us. We've come along together. We've come along for the ride, and now it's time for each of us to take it one step further. Add one more mitzvah. The Rebbe gave it all he got, and so we got to give it all we got. And so give it all you got. Eighth Day song. Give it all you got. So give it all you got. Add a mitzvah that you're already doing, but to do it better. Start a new mitzvah. Start doing something for someone else. If you're, the Rebbe always said, don't wait until you're perfect before you start helping others. Go reach out to somebody else and bring them something that you have. Bring them something that touches you, and bring that to them, and go and be the light that the Rebbe wants each one of us to be, and make the world the way the Rebbe saw the world, which is amazing after what the Rebbe went through in his life, and the horror, destruction, persecution, and all of the other things that have gone on in the Rebbe's life. For the Rebbe to be so positive and upbeat, that is absolutely inspiring. And the Rebbe would do with his hand, he'd lift up the people. As the singing, he would pick up sometimes both of his hands and literally lifting us up and saying, guys, yes, life is tough. The world around us is dark, but light is stronger than darkness. And a little bit of light pushes away a lot of dark. And we are the generation. We're not just have to do this on our own. We are going on the shoulders of giants that came before us. And our little mitzvah is that mitzvah that's going to push it over the top. And so let's all commit to doing our part in bringing Mashiach. And we want to thank you all for joining us. I can't believe it's already 2 hours that we've been together. And thank you all so much for joining us. We are going to open it up. So this way, okay. We're going to say goodbye to our live stream and open it up to those who are with us on Zoom. So we're going to stop the live stream. Goodbye, everybody on Facebook. And hello to all the people here.
Larry, happy belated anniversary.
And now we're going to unmute you guys. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to allow you to unmute yourself. So you can unmute yourself if you'd like to share. And we have Mendel and Chani Moskowitz, the proud parents of Mashi and Ben-Sha'an. Thank you for joining us and being with us. Thank you, Mordechai, for sharing. Thank you, Kathy, for joining us, and Adam and Dina Brown for joining us. And thank you to Selma for joining us, and Bonnie and Jeff Dukovsky, and Rena. And Rena, thank you for figuring out how to change your name. And Jeff Rosenthal. Anybody who wants to unmute themselves, go right ahead. Adrian, Amy, Lois, Gabby, Marcus Miller, Wendy, Hannah Ruffle, Richard. Who else is on? I see we've got Nancy is on, and Natalie, and Janet, and Nissen Moskowitz, and Moishi, and who else is on? Wow, we got so many people on. So if you want to share, Selma, looks like you want to share. Let's go.
I just wanted to thank you for putting it on. I thought it was absolutely a wonderful, inspirational, I don't know what to call it. It's more than a meeting. It's a Fabringen.
Oh.
So I really, really appreciate your efforts to do it.
And we're so happy that you're healthy.
We're happy you're home from the
hospital.
Thank you. I'm happy I'm home too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Zipoida Baschaya.
I don't know why.
You have only good things.
In the hospital, I didn't hear that. What was?
Oh, I was in the hospital. I had a problem with my heart.
Oh my goodness.
I was in for 4 days, and now they're just checking the blood pressure and adjusting the medicine so that it doesn't go from 173 to 103.
Wow.
Which is what it was doing.
Wow.
No big deal.
Wow.
It'll be all right.
So I
Selma's a lot stronger than that.
Too stubborn to die.
That's for sure.
God still needs you here, Selma. You have still a lot of work to do.
Amen. But right now I'm going to go make myself dinner because I haven't had lunch.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Unbelievable.
That's why I was nibbling on the
Anybody else
salad. Now I eat solid food. So again, thank you very, very much, and everybody stay safe.
Selma, what time should I be over for dinner?
About 5 minutes.
Okay, see you then.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, guys. It's a wonderful,
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff, because of Lindsay's, that donation that you brought over of the clothes went over really unbelievably incredible. We brought it over to Vera's sanctuary last night, and it was unbelievable.
You should have seen the girls. I told Barbara, they were literally crying. They were so touched. They kept saying, how do we don't feel like we deserve this. How come the Jewish community cares about us? They were literally left with bag loads of stuff.
You know, I was just thinking that, she had so many clothes from that business, and rather than just sell it for pennies on the dollar, or, you could make somebody really happy with that. So I didn't realize it would have that kind of impact, but I'm really happy it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Amazing.
Okay. Thank you. I'll tell her. I'll tell Linz.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll reach out to her too.
Okay.
Anybody else want to share? Just unmute yourself. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you for the program. I enjoyed it.
Oh, you're welcome,
Thank you,
Rena.
Rena. So good. So glad you could join. So glad you could join.
What, Wendy?
I have pictures for you. I'll email them.
Oh, thanks. I can always count on you. Wendy, go Wendy.
Did you heard your shout out before we talked about the Rebbe's book, right? That you liked.
No, I didn't. I had stepped away.
Oh, because we picked up this book and I said, Wendy likes this book. She's read it.
Love it. Really read it too. We quote it all the time too.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
great.
It's a great read. Really good.
Yes. Well, thank you,
Great
Wendy.
to see you, Wendy.
I love the mezuzah behind you.
Oh yeah, that my kids brought that back from their honeymoon. I think it's from
Oh,
Italy.
nice.
Wow.
Beautiful.
I'll see if I can get a closer look at it. Which way do I need to go? Oh, there it is. It's Italian glass.
Oh, wow.
It has a kosher mezuzah in it.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Anybody else want to share?
Night, Wendy.
Can you hear me, Rabbi and Basi?
Yes.
Hi, Gabby.
Hello. Thank you so much
Hi.
for this program full of light and inspiration. And I just wanted to share a quick thought. I heard a couple of different takes on Jewish prayer, Jewish tefillah, and an idea I heard when I was learning in New York from Basi's brother-in-law, Rabbi Yossi Paltiel, is that Hashem actively wants us to ask for what we need. A lot of the blessings that we say are both personal and global, and for the community, but for sure also personal. And asking for what you need makes you a better person, a better shliach for what Hashem needs you to do in the world. And I think, for me personally, it's something that I try to work on. It's not always so easy for people to ask for what they need and to admit that when they need help. But the whole design of the world, I think, and the way Hashem set it up is so that we can ask for what we need. And I think what Daniela was sharing was in line with that. When you go to the Ohel, it's a special opportunity to be able to connect in that way and feel like you've given over everything that you're thinking about and that it's going to come.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Beautiful, Gabby.
Yeah, thank you. And we get to see you. It's wonderful. Well, I'm so glad you could join us, and thank you for sharing. We love when you share.
Yes, we do. And say hi to your mom.
She was on earlier. Yeah, she enjoyed that.
Oh,
Great.
excellent. Okay, anybody else want to share? Open mic, open forum. Okay, looks like everybody who wanted to share has shared. Anybody else? Okay. Well, with that, I'd like to say a good night to everybody and make this day a extra meaningful day. It is an extra meaningful day, and tap into the special energy that flows on this holy day. And so with that, we'll bid you all a good night.
Good night.
Make the world a
great seeing you all.
great day, Jen. So good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Good night.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Have a great night. Thanks for everything.
See you soon. We'll see you soon.